Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jody and it's Rust Lover's Garage. We're in the shop today doing some content, making some sparks, and that'll be our next video, so you'll definitely want to stick around and see that. But I wanted to take a moment and drop a short video regarding a little video that I did about getting the F100 aligned and getting ready for the F100 Super Nationals. Gotten a lot of questions, private messaging on Facebook, text messages coming in about the process. I'm going to drop Scotty's information right here in the video and let it run. That's Wink's Front End Shop, or you can go back and refer to the other video. His information will also be in the description of this video. When you're running these I-beams, I've had a lot of questions about guys wanting to try this or try that, or what my opinion was. So I'm just going to lay it out there for everybody and give you my thoughts on it. Am I an expert? No. Am I a front end alignment guy? No. But I've messed with these trucks my entire life. I just want you to understand that I-beam is a cast piece, okay? Whether you're using the drop beams that are also cast, and I'm going to split it two different ways right here. You have those beams, which are the cast, then you have the fabricated beams that a lot of these guys are making out there in the shop. They're good products too. We'll talk about them in a minute. But speaking specifically with the cast beams, which mine are original to the truck, I've dropped my front end by the springs. The springs that I used come out of a 1992 to 1994 Ford Explorer 4-wheel drive. They are a progressive rate spring. You take one coil out of the top and you can get the ride height that I'm at right now. I cannot take credit for that. I am copying Craig at F100 World. He's got a video on it too. That's where I got it. I looked at it, thought it was great, did it, worked on my truck. But going back to the beams, the factory beams, again, or the cast beams, okay? I've had guys ask me about, well, I think I can do this in my shop, or I can do that, I can heat them up, I can do this. Guys, I've worked in metal since I was 14 years old in some capacity. Understand, when you're adding heat to metal, you are changing it from its original form, okay? The engineers designed this. There's certain specs that are put on the cast for hardness, for density, for tensile strength and elasticity. That's stretching, okay? Please understand that anytime you add heat, you are changing those characteristics. Without being in a laboratory, without having the measuring equipment, you don't know as an individual exactly what changes you've caused. And what do I mean by that? If you heat up a piece of metal in a certain spot, you run a potential with cast, number one, weakening it. Weakening it by tensile strength or elongation, okay? What do I mean by that? Tensile strength. You can make it softer and it bends too much. You can also cause a hard spot if it's cooled too fast, which will make it brittle, which means bottoming out, driving into a turn too hard, some type of other impact, and you may break that beam. In my mind, that's a catastrophic failure, okay? The way that Scotty shows how to do this in my previous video, it's all done cold, okay? And he bends it one way or the other to get your caster right, okay? And this is something that's done over a period of time. This is not just like a piece of cold rolled steel that you bend, okay? No piece of metal that you just bend goes to that point and stays, okay? If you've ever been in a fab shop and watched these guys running a press brake, they may hit a piece of metal 3 or 4 times, let's say at a 45 or a 90, to get it to hold the form that they want it to hold. Same thing with these beams. They're bent to a point, and when you back off, they back off, okay? Scotty's done this his entire life. Man's got over 30, maybe 35 years experience. So he'll kind of have a feel for how far to bend past where he wants it to be to allow for that recovery, okay? A lot of science involved in what he does, although it doesn't look like it. Again, trying it in your shop and heating it, I just wouldn't recommend doing that, guys. I'm in the southern Piedmont of North Carolina. Scotty's he's probably not more than about a 20-mile drive, but it's about a 45-minute drive through traffic to get to his shop. Unfortunately, there's not one of those guys on every corner. I apologize for that. So you got to find an old school shop that can do this type of thing for you if you're going to keep the beams. whether they be drop beams or not. I know Dennis Carpenter, they sell the actual forward beams, but it's still got to be aligned. This type shop is where you would go to do that. Okay, let's go to the fabricated beams. I'm going to defer lining a front end up with the fabricated beams to Scotty. Again, his number's going to be here. Call him and ask him. Tell him I told you to call. I've known this man for a long time. He certainly will not lie to you. But again, just based on the fact that I'm getting so many requests and so many questions about what I've done or the way that it's done, again, I'm referring you guys to somebody, if not Scotty, somebody like him. I would not in any way, shape, or form think about trying to do this in my own shop. Can you do it and get by with it? Maybe. Okay, can you do it and have a problem? Probably. Okay, so again, guys, I appreciate the support for the channel, but again, this type of work needs to be done by the professional, in my opinion. Some things I'll try, some things I've never done. I'll give it a shot. It turns out okay. Sometimes they don't. But when it comes to suspension components like this and these type modifications, I would rather have somebody that's done it a long, long time to do this type of stuff rather than me trying it by myself. So again, I appreciate the support of the channel. All you guys that are reaching out via text messages and private messenger, Facebook, great. Appreciate that. You'll definitely want to stick around for the next video as soon as we can get it done. I'm doing a fabrication job for a friend of mine. He also built a new shop and he's got a water problem. Okay, heavy rains is getting into his shop, so I'm going to build him something to help that problem go away. Also, beginning next year, we're going to have some help with our production. We're going to be doing some various things differently, and I'm being very much encouraged to get involved in other social media, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not smart enough to do it, so I got help coming. Again, appreciate the support, guys, and as always, God bless.